The endless blue of the ocean stretched in every direction, its vastness broken only by the soft sound of waves lapping against a rusty metal barrel. Inside this barrel, a mother dog lay curled around her 3 tiny puppies, her body frail and trembling with exhaustion. The sun beat down mercilessly, its rays reflecting off the water like shards of broken glass, offering no mercy to those stranded in its grasp. Her puppies whimpered softly, their small bodies pressed tightly against hers as they sought comfort. She nudged them gently with her nose, her instincts driving her to protect them even as her own strength faded. Days had passed since they had been abandoned here, cast adrift with no hope of rescue. The saltwater spray stung her eyes, and her once shiny coat was matted and dull. Far off on the horizon, a fishing boat bobbed with the rhythm of the sea. Its captain, a middle-aged man named Matteo, was scanning the waters for signs of a good catch. His keen eyes caught something unusual in the distance, a small, dark object floating aimlessly. Frowning, he adjusted the wheel and steered toward it, his curiosity piqued. As the boat drew closer, Matteo's heart sank. It wasn't debris or a lost buoy as he had initially thought. It was a barrel, its edges rusted and jagged, and inside he saw her, the mother dog, her head lifting weakly as she noticed the approaching boat. Her eyes met his, and in that instant he saw a plea for help, a silent cry for mercy. Matteo wasted no time. He barked orders to his crewmates who scrambled to retrieve the barrel. With careful hands, they lifted it aboard, their faces reflecting a mix of shock and compassion as they beheld the fragile family within. The puppies squeaked softly, their tiny bodies shivering despite the warmth of the day. The mother dog let out a low whimper, her tail wagging faintly as if to thank her rescuers. "She's barely holding on," one of the crew members said, his voice thick with emotion. Matteo nodded grimly, already pulling a water bottle from his bag. He poured some into his hand, offering it to the mother dog. She lapped at it hesitantly, her movements slow but desperate. Her puppies, too young to drink on their own, nestled closer to her for comfort. The crew worked quickly to make the dogs comfortable, laying down blankets and shielding them from the harsh sun. Matteo gently examined the mother dog, his experience with animals guiding his movements. "She's malnourished," he said quietly, "but she's a fighter. Look at her. She hasn't given up on them." The mother dog's gaze never wavered from her puppies, even as Matteo tended to her. It was clear to everyone on board that her sole purpose was their survival, her determination unwavering even in the face of despair. As the boat turned back toward the mainland, the crew fell silent, their thoughts heavy with the cruel reality of what they had witnessed. Who could abandon such a loyal, loving creature and her innocent pups to such a fate? Matteo clenched his fists, anger bubbling beneath his calm exterior. But as he looked at the mother dog, now resting with her puppies safe beside her, he felt something else. Hope. "Hang in there, girl," he murmured, his voice steady. "You're going to be okay now." The fishing boat docked at a small harbor just as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting warm hues of orange and pink over the calm waters. Matteo carried the mother dog carefully in his arms, her puppies tucked securely into the crook of his elbow. The crew had called ahead to a local animal shelter, ensuring that help would be waiting when they arrived. At the end of the dock stood Elena, the shelter's veterinarian, her face lined with concern as she spotted Matteo approaching. She had heard the story from his brief call, an abandoned mother dog and her puppies, stranded at sea. "Let's get them inside," she said briskly, motioning toward a small van parked nearby. The mother dog's eyes fluttered open as Matteo gently placed her on a soft blanket inside the van. her puppies nestled against her, their tiny bodies seeking the warmth and comfort of their mother. Elena quickly assessed their condition, her experienced hands moving with precision. "They're dehydrated and malnourished," she said, her voice steady but serious. "But with care, they'll recover." The drive to the shelter was quiet, the hum of the engine the only sound as Matteo and Elena focused on their fragile passengers. When they arrived, the shelter staff sprang into action, preparing a warm, safe space for the dogs. The mother dog was placed on a padded bed, her puppies huddled close to her side. A bowl of fresh water and a small plate of soft food were placed within her reach. At first, she hesitated, her instincts wary after days of suffering and abandonment. But as the room filled with the gentle voices and kind hands of the shelter staff, she began to relax. She took a tentative sip of water, followed by a small bite of food. Her tail wagged faintly, a small but hopeful sign. Matteo stayed by her side, his weathered hands resting gently on the edge of the bed. "You're safe now," he murmured, his voice soft. The mother dog looked up at him, her tired eyes filled with gratitude. It was clear that she understood. These humans were different. They cared. Elena returned with a clipboard, her expression thoughtful. "We'll need to monitor them closely over the next few days," she said. "But if they continue like this, they'll pull through." Matteo nodded, his determination evident. "I'll do whatever it takes to help them," he replied. "She deserves a chance after everything she's been through." Over the next few days, the shelter became a sanctuary for the mother dog and her puppies. The staff worked tirelessly, feeding her small, nutritious meals and ensuring her puppies nursed regularly. Slowly but surely, the mother dog's strength returned. Her coat began to shine again, and her eyes regained a spark of life. The puppies, too, began to thrive. Once frail and weak, they grew stronger with each passing day, their playful antics bringing smiles to everyone at the shelter. They tumbled over each other in a pile of soft fur, their tiny tails wagging with joy. The mother dog watched them lovingly, her eyes filled with pride and relief. Matteo visited the shelter every day, bringing fresh fish from his catches and spending hours with the dogs. He felt a deep connection to them, a bond forged by the extraordinary circumstances of their rescue. The mother dog greeted him each time with a wag of her tail, her trust in him growing stronger with every visit. "You've made a difference," Elena said one afternoon, as she watched Matteo playing with the puppies. "Not just for them, but for everyone here. Their story reminds us why we do this work." Matteo smiled, his eyes fixed on the mother dog. "She saved her puppies against all odds," he replied. "All I did was help her finish what she started." As the days turned into weeks, the mother dog and her puppies became a symbol of hope for the entire community. News of their rescue spread, inspiring acts of kindness and generosity from those who heard their story. Donations poured into the shelter, ensuring that other animals in need would receive the same care and compassion. And through it all, the bond between Matteo and the mother dog grew stronger. She was no longer just a stray, she was a survivor, a testament to the unbreakable bond between a mother and her pups, and the kindness of those who refused to turn away. The weeks that followed marked a complete transformation for the mother dog and her puppies. No longer weak and frail, they thrived under the shelter's care. The puppies grew rapidly, their once timid personalities blossoming into playful, mischievous spirits that filled the shelter with laughter. Each day, they explored their surroundings with unbridled curiosity, tumbling over each other in joyful chaos. The mother dog, whom the staff had affectionately named Bella, became a symbol of resilience. Her coat, once matted and dull, now shone with a healthy glow, and her eyes sparkled with the energy of a survivor. Despite her hardships, Bella's gentle nature shone through, endearing her to everyone who met her. Matteo visited the shelter daily, and each time, Bella greeted him with a wagging tail and a happy bark. Their bond grew deeper with every interaction, a silent acknowledgement of the extraordinary journey that had brought them together. Matteo often sat with Bella and her puppies, a quiet smile on his face as they clambered over his lap. "You've come so far," he would whisper, his voice filled with pride. Bella seemed to understand. She would nuzzle his hand, her tail wagging steadily as if to say, "Thank you." The community had also rallied around Bella's story. People from all over came to the shelter, bringing donations of food, blankets, and toys for the animals. Bella and her puppies became the heart of the shelter, their story inspiring countless acts of kindness. Children visited often, their faces lighting up as they played with the lively pups. For many, Bella was a reminder of the power of love and determination in the face of adversity. As the puppies grew, Elena began to consider their futures. "They'll be ready for adoption soon," she told Matteo one afternoon, her tone thoughtful. "They're healthy and full of energy. It's time to find them families who will love them as much as Bella does." The news was bittersweet for Matteo. He had grown attached to Bella and her puppies, their story leaving an indelible mark on his heart. But he knew Elena was right. They deserved homes where they could continue to thrive. Still, the thought of parting with them, especially Bella, tugged at his heartstrings. "Bella deserves the best," he said quietly, his eyes meeting Elena's. "But I don't think I can let her go." Elena smiled, her expression warm and knowing. "Then maybe she's already found her home." A few days later, the adoption process began. Families flocked to the shelter, eager to meet the famous puppies whose story had captured so many hearts. One by one, the puppies found loving homes, their new families promising to give them the life they deserved. Bella watched each departure with a mix of pride and longing, her maternal instincts urging her to protect them even as she let them go. Matteo was there for every goodbye, his presence a steady source of comfort for Bella. When the last puppy was adopted, Bella seemed to sense that her role as a mother was complete. She leaned against Matteo's side, her eyes filled with trust and affection. That evening, as the shelter quieted down, Matteo approached Elena with a decision that had been forming in his heart. "I'd like to adopt Bella," he said simply, his voice steady but emotional. "She's part of my family now." Elena beamed, her eyes glistening with tears. "I think she's been waiting for you to say that." As Matteo signed the adoption papers, Bella sat beside him, her tail wagging gently as if she understood what was happening. It was the beginning of a new chapter for both of them, a life built on trust, love, and the bond they had forged against all odds. Bella's first day at Matteo's home marked the beginning of a life she could have never imagined. The small coastal house, with its bright blue shutters and a yard overlooking the sea, became her haven. For the first time, Bella had a space to call her own, a cozy bed in the corner of Matteo's living room, and a yard where she could roam freely. Matteo made sure her transition was smooth. He introduced her to every corner of the house, speaking to her softly as she explored. Bella followed him everywhere, her tail wagging with curiosity. She seemed to sense that this was her home now, a place where she was safe and loved. The bond between Matteo and Bella deepened with each passing day. They quickly fell into a routine. Morning walks along the beach, afternoons spent working in the garden, and evenings by the fireplace. Bella would rest her head on Matteo's lap as he read or tinkered with fishing gear, her soft breaths a soothing presence in the quiet house. Matteo often thought about how far Bella had come, from a rusted barrel drifting aimlessly at sea to this life of peace and companionship. "You've been through so much," he would say, stroking her fur. "But you never gave up. You're stronger than anyone I know." Bella responded with gentle nudges and happy barks, her eyes reflecting the trust and affection she felt for Matteo. The coastal community quickly took to Bella, her story a source of inspiration for everyone who met her. Children would run up to pet her during her walks, and neighbors often stopped to ask about her journey. Matteo shared her story with pride, emphasizing Bella's resilience and the importance of kindness toward all creatures. One afternoon, as Bella and Matteo walked along the shoreline, they encountered a small group of fishermen struggling to free a trapped seagull from a net. Bella watched intently, her ears perked as she sensed the distress. Matteo stepped in to help, his experience with animals guiding his careful movements. Bella stayed close, her calm presence seeming to soothe the frightened bird. When the seagull was finally free, it flapped its wings and soared into the sky. Matteo smiled, looking down at Bella. "You taught me this," he said softly, "to never turn away from someone in need." As the weeks turned into months, Bella became an integral part of Matteo's life. Her playful energy brought warmth to his days, while her loyalty reminded him of the beauty in simple acts of love. Matteo often marveled at her spirit, wondering how a dog who had faced such cruelty could show so much kindness. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace, Matteo reflected on the journey that had brought them together. "You saved them," he said, referring to her puppies, "and somehow you saved me too." Bella tilted her head, her tail thumping softly against the floor. It was as if she understood his words, her quiet presence a testament to the bond they had built. The news of Bella's journey continued to spread, inspiring others to adopt animals in need and support shelters like Elena's. Donations flooded in, and more animals were rescued and cared for because of Bella's story. She had become more than a survivor. She was a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that kindness could transform even the most dire circumstances. One night, as the waves crashed gently against the shore, Matteo sat on the porch with Bella by his side. The stars above sparkled like tiny beacons, their light reflecting on the calm sea. Bella rested her head on his knee, her eyes half closed as she enjoyed the cool evening breeze. "Thank you for choosing me," Matteo said quietly, his voice filled with emotion. "You've changed my life." Bella looked up at him, her tail wagging softly. In that moment, no words were needed. The bond between them spoke volumes, a connection born from adversity, strengthened by love, and destined to last a lifetime. As the seasons passed, Bella's story became a lasting symbol of resilience and love. Matteo often shared her journey with friends, neighbors, and visitors, emphasizing the incredible strength it took for her to survive and protect her puppies against impossible odds. "She didn't just survive," Matteo would say with pride. "She thrived. And she taught us all the power of never giving up." The bond between Bella and Matteo grew deeper with each passing day. She was more than a companion, she was family. From sunlit walks along the beach to quiet evenings by the fire, their lives intertwined in a way that felt destined. Matteo often thought about how a simple act of kindness, pulling a barrel from the sea, had changed both of their lives forever. Bella continued to inspire not just Matteo but the entire community. Her presence at events and fundraisers for the local shelter brought attention to the plight of animals in need. Children loved hearing her story, their eyes lighting up as they petted her soft fur. Bella seemed to understand her role, her calm demeanor and gentle eyes offering reassurance to everyone she met. One memorable day, Matteo and Bella were invited to a school assembly, where the theme was acts of kindness. As Matteo shared Bella's story with the children, she lay quietly at his feet, her tail wagging gently, as if she knew she was the star of the moment. The children listened intently, their hands shooting up with questions after Matteo finished speaking. "How did she survive so long in the barrel?" one child asked. Matteo smiled, looking down at Bella. She survived because she had a reason to fight for her puppies. And sometimes love gives us strength we didn't know we had. After the assembly, the students crowded around Bella, their laughter and excitement filling the room. She wagged her tail happily, licking small hands and accepting gentle pats on her head. Matteo watched, his heart full, as he saw the joy she brought to so many lives. That night, as they returned home, Matteo sat on the porch with Bella by his side. The moon cast a silver glow over the sea, its waves lapping softly against the shore. Matteo stroked Bella's fur, his voice quiet but full of emotion. "You've done so much," he said, "not just for me, but for everyone who knows your story. You've shown us what it means to never give up." Bella leaned into him, her eyes closing as she rested her head on his knee. For her, life was simple now. A life filled with love, safety, and the quiet companionship of a man who had saved her when she needed it most. Matteo smiled, his heart full of gratitude for the dog who had given him just as much as he had given her. In the years that followed, Bella's story continued to inspire. The shelter received more support than ever before, rescuing countless animals and giving them the second chances they deserved. Families came forward to adopt, their hearts touched by the tale of a mother dog who refused to give up on her puppies. Bella's legacy lived on, a testament to the power of kindness, resilience, and the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. And though her story began in the vast, unforgiving ocean, it ended in a place of warmth and love, a home where she would always belong. If Bella's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can spread the message of kindness and inspire others to make a difference for animals in need.